had this earlier today. We have a poll up, and right now, let me where it is. The poll has 250 votes in like less than 40 minutes. Who would get your vote for the best running back at Baylor from 2010 to 2019? Shock Linwood has 40%, Lake Seastrunk 36.8%, Ganaway 20%, Jay Finley, who a lot of people forgot about, but he was a part of the very beginning of the decade, but a 1,200-yard year, 3.2%. I think that I could have put Glasgow Martin, I could have put Jermichael Hasty, I could have even put like Lovett on here, and they would have gotten more votes than Finley, who's getting kind of overshadowed here. But in the end, you could say that Hasty might have been the best overall back because of what he also did with pass protection. But we remember what happened, what Shock Linwood and what the offensive coaches said. He was really part of the brains of that offense, that he was the one that could make all the calls and knew as much about every position on the offense side of the ball as anybody else. And so I think sometimes, but there's that normal, hey, he may have quit on the team. There were people on the coaching staff that may have quit on the team.
I don't think there's any may to it. I think there was definitely.
We're now joined by Jason King, SicEm365.com, and also was amazing, embedded basically almost all but that with the basketball team down the stretch as well, who had a chance to speak with Shock Linwood. In fact, it's up on the premium site, Q&A with Shock Linwood. What did you come out of that, Jason? Thanks for your time, first of all, with the show on SicEm365 Radio. What did you come out of that Q&A with him? What were your thoughts?
To tell you the truth, I feel a little sorry for him. I just remember watching Shock for 4 years, and he kind of turned into one of my favorite Baylor players. We can talk about Bryce Petty and all the great offensive players that squad had, but I mean, rightfully so. But I mean, Shock was as important as anyone, in those Big 12 championships and just that overall run that Baylor had there. And to think that he's the school's all-time leading rusher, yet never even got a chance to try out for an NFL team, never played a down of football after his Baylor career, just because of a lot of different set of circumstances, and now he's back home in his hometown, working highway construction and things of that sort. And it's funny, you forget about guys sometimes, and you cheer for them, and then they move on, and 3 or 4 years later, you wonder what happened to them, and the stories aren't always happy and positive. And just a shame that he didn't get to play football longer than he did.
Jason, what did he have to say about the end there and how everything kind of went down?
Yeah, I just feel like, after Art Briles left and, Kendall kind of took over the offense, I just think that Shock didn't like, the way some plays were being called or just the way things were going in general. And I just think the whole team probably kind of had that mindset. It was just a tough time for everyone. And while a lot of people kept quiet about it, I think Shock was kind of the guy to voice his displeasure. And, I think he all of a sudden, in the eyes of some of the coaches might have been viewed as insubordinate, and they just weren't going to have it, and they benched him instead of playing him. And I think that, that probably cost them some games down the stretch, especially, at Texas. I think they probably would have won that game if they would have given him the ball a little bit more in the second half after he had a pretty good first half. But, I can kind of see both sides of it, but, part of you says, Shock probably shouldn't have talked back to his coaches, no matter who they are. But, part of you feels for anyone on that team at that point with all the turnover and the outside heat they were taking. I just think it was a lot of angst and tension on that whole team.
Jason, you touched on this in the piece, and I don't want to spoil it for everyone because we want to encourage everybody to go out there and read the piece. It's really good, but he actually was going to make a return to football, and it looked like he was perhaps going to reunite with Briles over in Italy. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I think when Briles left Italy, I think some of the coaches there said, hey, thanks for your time in Italy, Art. If you have anyone else you'd like to send us, please do. And I think Art kind of recommended him and sent Shock over there. And he was going to play for the new staff. And he got there, and he was just out of shape. I mean, think about it. I've been sitting around for a month, and I've gotten out of shape. Imagine sitting around for 3 years, and not doing much, and just showing up and putting on. I mean, literally putting on pads for the first time in 3 years. He said it just kind of felt weird doing it first. It's been so long, and I think he just. I'm guessing he probably was a little overweight, probably a little winded, and he kind of hurt himself, with his hamstring, probably from not being in shape, and they just kind of sent him home. And then a week or so later is when the coronavirus hit, and he probably would have been home anyway. But he kind of said he felt like that was his last chance football wise. And just to backtrack, I certainly don't want to make it sound like that whole interview was based on him, bashing the coaches and all, or anything. That was just a 5-minute segment of our chat. But most of it was just, all the praise for Baylor and his time at the school and how much he loved the program and couldn't have been happier overall with his career there and more grateful for it. So he just hated the way it ended, and he even took some accountability for it too. So
you were very much involved in covering the men's basketball program throughout the year. That's your go-to. You've covered the great teams at Kansas and still do, but you were, for SicEm365, right in the middle of it when it came to Baylor men's basketball. How much do you feel like after they lost to West Virginia and entering the Big 12 tournament, did they decompress enough to make a run once the postseason began, if it in fact would have ever been able to get going?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like so many people had talked about the quote collapse of Baylor's team there at the end. I didn't feel that way at all. I mean, they certainly had some injuries that might have led to a couple of losses, but I mean, they played the number one team in the country to 3 points down on Fieldhouse. They lost it. I mean, a lot of people go to West Virginia, and you take out Van Du and Meyer and Clark. I mean, that's really going to hamper them. So I think that those 3 or 4 days before the Big 12 tournament had given guys a chance to heal up, especially Meyer and Clark, and I think they would have made a run. And you got to remember, I mean, the Big 12 defensively, I didn't think the Big 12 was great this year, but they had 3 really good defensive teams besides Baylor. Kansas, West Virginia, Texas Tech. I mean, I don't think Baylor would have faced many defenses in the NCAA tournament that were nearly as good as what they were seeing in their own league. So, we were kind of getting to the point, myself included, where we would nitpick Baylor a little bit toward the end there. Sometimes teams get so good, you try to look for flaws. We found a few, but I think in the end, I think they would have played loose in that NCAA tournament and definitely made a nice run.
Where do you? I mean, that's clearly Scott Drew's deepest team. Who knows what it been? Was that the deepest team of all time? You think for them?
I hadn't really thought about up there. I mean, simply because especially when Clark was healthy. That wasn't. I mean, I don't know if he was ever really healthy, but there was a little span there when he was. For 4 or 5 games when he was really helping them. At that point, they were a solid 8 or 9 deep, and he didn't lose a whole lot when certain guys went off the floor. I do think whenever Vital was off the floor, I thought they would take a little bit of a step back. But yeah, the depth was so good, and that was the biggest difference. And it's going to be great again next year. That's the thing. I'm really excited about this squad in 2021 as well, because you hear so many good things about Flagler and so many other pieces that they're adding, and they basically got everyone back. I mean, I think the Gillespie loss is going to really hurt them. I'm a little worried about them in the paint because I don't know what they're going to replace them with down there. But other than that, I mean, they're going to be a strong team again.
Maceo Teague made the decision to go pro, Jason, and obviously he can pull out of that, but just given the kind of strange times we're in right now with the draft and not really knowing what the plans are moving forward, do you think that is a benefit for Baylor moving forward and some guys who maybe would have had a different set of circumstances to think through?
Yeah, my initial response is yes. I mean, I think I can see where guys might be hesitant to turn pro right now, especially those borderline guys, because they're not able to go work out for teams. They're not going to get they're not going to get to really elevate their status. Maceo Teague, you can say, well, he's not projected to be drafted, and his thought is, well, I'll go work out for teams and elevate my status. He's not going to have a chance to do that right now. So, those borderline guys, I can maybe see them wanting to come back. But there's also, a lot of uncertainty just with college basketball in general, and who knows when that season will start. So I think it's just going to depend on a person-by-person basis. I'll tell you, I am a little worried about Teague. Everyone's saying, why would you go pro? I mean, you're not going to be drafted. You're going to be in the G League, or you're going to be overseas, not making nearly as much money as you think you might be making. And I just think it would be better for him to come back. And not just so he can really enhance his draft status. I don't really think it's going to make much of a change. But I just think sometimes these guys don't really value and appreciate what they have in college until it's too late. I mean, when I used to cover KU basketball, I can't tell you how many guys I'd hear stories of leaving early and they'd go play in the G League and they'd come back at Christmas and they'd be at the game and they'd tell me, man, we're traveling on these uncomfortable buses, and instead of getting these nice catered meals, we're getting Arby's and a to-go bag, and there's 300 people at our games, and it's just not the same. And look, that's going to happen for for these guys eventually. But guys, while you're in college, enjoy it. I mean, enjoy the fanfare, enjoy the bit packed arenas and playing on national TV, especially when you're on a good team. I mean, a team that could make a Final Four, win a conference title for the first time in school history since they've been in the Big 12. I think he would regret it if he left. I am worried about it. I have a sense that it might happen.
Jason, thank you, man. It's great to be a part of what you're doing and all the others at SicEm365.com. We're thrilled with what we've been able to get involved with the last almost 2 full weeks. Thanks for being a part of the show.
I'm excited for it, Dave. I'm excited, and the thing is, it's been a good 2 weeks. You just imagine once we get sports back, how much fun it's going to be, or how much more fun it's going to be. It's already been great. So thanks for having me on.
All right, thank you very much. That's Jason King, SicEm365.com. He has a Q&A on the premium site with former Baylor and all-time leading rusher, Shock Linwood. Coming up next, oh boy, Randy Galloway, former Dallas Morning News and Fort Worth Star-Telegram writer and longtime talk show host. He's next on SicEm365 Radio.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
In this day and age, you must be able to change how you do business. Think outside the box to ensure that you service your customers. And at Waco Custom Marketplace, we've created our own drive-thru for your Monday, Wednesday, and Friday shopping needs, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So you can still order and enjoy from our great butcher shop and bakery, including 2 pounds of 8-ounce salmon fillets for $24.05, 2 pounds of 4-ounce catfish fillets for $4.90, sliced ham or turkey, American cheese and smoked sausage, fresh chicken breast, 3.5-pound whole chickens, sliced bacon, boneless pork chops, 80/20 ground beef, 4 pieces of sirloin steak or 4 pieces of ribeye steak from $19 to $35. Marinated beef or chicken fajita meat plus a loaf of bread. Fresh carrots and Idaho or red beef potatoes or white onions. Pinto beans and white rice, flour tortillas. So the great product, customer service, and tradition continues at Waco Custom Marketplace with a drive-thru only Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
This is Waco, and this is Boozer's Jewelers. When locals want luxurious jewelry and at a competitive price, they come here. This is Brad Boozer. He's the owner of Boozer's Jewelers. Boozer's is the premier wedding ring store. They specialize in loose diamonds and wedding rings. At Boozer's, they have 7 jewelry counters dedicated to wedding rings and diamonds only. They also specialize in heirloom jewelry, custom jewelry, watches, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Stop on in today and discover why the locals trust Boozer's for their jewelry.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
And it's Brewer keeping it to the outside. Brewer lays the shoulder, dive, touchdown, Bears.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget. Here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Longtime award-winning writer, columnist for the Dallas Morning News and Fort Worth Star-Telegram, longtime sports talk show host back in the day, and has been retired in recent years, but still on occasion will make an occasional appearance with a talk show. And we reached out to Randy Galloway. He's a lifelong friend of ours when it comes to what we've done. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, and David Smoak, and Randy Galloway on SicEm365 Radio. How are you handling the downtime of not being able to do much?
Not well. Smoky, thanks for asking, but not well at all. But I am trying to adapt and survive this whole new world that we now live in, and apparently are going to be living in for a while. So, I don't want to be too cavalier here. We need to take this seriously. I try to take it seriously. I know my wife screams every time I walk out the door, but I'm not. I'm staying home. What do they call it? Stay home or whatever it is. And when I am out, I try to do the social distancing. I never thought I would say those two words, social distancing. But here we go. It is a whole new world. I hope you guys. And the main thing is everybody, family, friends. I don't know anybody that outside of a couple of people out of work, which is awful. But I don't know of anybody that has been impacted by this from an illness standpoint. So that's a blessing right there.
Randy, what are you missing doing the most that you can't get out and do?
Man, I'm the type of, play golf, go to Lone Star Park, bet horses, and then I tell you what, I've been retired now 6 years, and I told everybody I was going to do it when I retire. I just I'll get in the pickup truck, drive around, and look at stuff. I will be reading the papers in the morning, and I might see something going on in Jacksboro. Well, that's about an hour and a half. I just drive up to Jacksboro and take a look at it. And I do miss all that and the social things. The gathering of family, friends, and most of that came on weekends. But you know what? I don't even know when the weekend is anymore. when it's because Friday and Saturday and Sunday are no different than Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So it's but you do miss getting together. We've kind of got the kind of house where it's easy to have a party, and that's what I was saying the other day. If I can't have a party or go to a party, I damn sure don't want Dak Prescott throwing one. Okay, without inviting. No, I wouldn't even want to be invited to that because you're not supposed to be doing whatever he was doing there on the thing. But anyway, overall. No complaints. Well, yeah, complaints, but I try to keep them to myself.
Randy, I was gonna. You kind of answered the question. I was gonna ask if your social gatherings involved that party Dak and Zeke were throwing the other night, or Dak was throwing the other night. What do you think of that? I mean, I know that with any story nowadays, especially one pertaining to the Cowboys, it gets portrayed a certain way. But is that a bad look for Dak and Zeke and all these guys, or do you think it's just the media looking for something to blow up at the moment?
Yeah, and good question. And I've got my disappointment is, to me, Dak. Now, forget Zeke. I mean, that's an irresponsible human being. God knows what he's going to do next. But Dak, man, 4 years, 5? I don't even remember. I love this kid, and I know there's going to be debate and maybe some controversies. He's the quarterback that can get the Cowboys to the Super Bowl and all that stuff. But to me, this guy is right out of the Woodson, Witten, and I can name 4 or 5 others mold of there. He's a do-right guy. He is always going to do right. He is a leader. He's just the type of guy, not only the talent, and obviously he does have a lot of talent, but the personality and just the kind of human being that you want to build your football team around. And then when something just to be as irresponsible as that. I do notice one thing, was it just TMZ blowing something up? But if you will notice, guys, the Cowboys didn't defend him. And normally, when a player, and this has happened a lot with the Cowboys, a player gets out there on the negative side of the national media, and boy, here comes Jerry, and here comes the Cowboy machine defending those players. But Jerry has not commented, at least is what I've seen. Stephen only said they know it better not happen again. And that was it. It wasn't like, well, now, the Dak story is we didn't have 30. Didn't have 30 people. There were less than 10, which is still wrong. I'm sorry about that. But the rest of the stuff got blown up. Well, and then the Prosper cops were called. And, the Prosper cops said they couldn't figure out how many were there. But my gosh, if 30 people are there, they all didn't come in a Corvette. I mean, ask the neighbors. And by the way, you don't see a lot of cars piled up in neighborhoods anymore at gatherings because those aren't going on. So all you got to do, did we have 10 or 15 cars out there in the neighborhood? So I think the Prosper cops may have been running, one of those, we don't want to be involved type things right there. But it is. I think the thing we all can take away from it is Cowboys didn't defend him. And the Cowboys didn't say, there were only 6 there, which is still wrong. The Cowboys didn't say anything. All Stephen said was, better not happen again. And there we go. So I'm disappointed from, finally answer your question, I'm really disappointed from just Dak, the human being, the do-right guy point of view. And he's taken a lot of hits across the country. And, they're deserved, quite frankly. Whatever he did, it was wrong. And I wish you'd quit hanging out with Zeke, okay? Mm-hmm. Just forget. Get Zeke out of your life except on Sunday when you hand off to him. Don't be socializing with Zeke. You don't want to do that.
Randy, what's more pressure, a deadline when you were a newspaper columnist or a 4-foot putt to have your best ever score on a golf course, or when one of your horses is about to start a race?
That's, boy, you guys are loading up the good questions. I would say deadline pressure. My golf game is so bad that I know I'm going to miss that putt. Every once in a while it'll roll in. But so that's even out of it. But deadline pressure would, that'll change a man right there. You had to be able to do it. To survive. I survived 50 years in the newspaper business. But that's just, you have to learn it and then be able to do it. But I got to be honest, Smoaky, when I was in the horse racing business, there was no deeper pit in my gut than watching a horse of ours go in the starting gate, and then here they go right there. Yep. That's a little selfish. But I think I knew basically I could handle deadlines. I had no idea if that horse was going to run worth a darn. So we were hoping. So I'd have to answer it that way.
Randy Galloway, longtime columnist, talk show host with us on SicEm365 Radio.
Randy, what do you think Mike McCarthy represents as change for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, if anything at all?
Wow, I love the hire. I thought, once again, Jerry will screw this up. And by the way, I certainly probably needed to go, but Red J, I was kind of a fan of Red J because, and I know the disappointments, I know everything, but Red J could handle Jerry. Jerry never did really, I can't say he didn't go nuts, but he didn't just go into some volcanic eruption as long as Red J was there. And I thought that was good. Jerry even screwed up with Bill Parcells by bringing in Eldorado Owens. I mean, Terrell Owens, Jerry just normally didn't care. But, okay, he had to go. Now, who in the world is he going to hire? Even when I was working, I'd always say, newspaper, radio, be careful. Be careful who you want fired as the head coach, because God knows who could be the next head coach. And then it's McCarthy. And I'm going, great. And then 2 weeks after McCarthy's here, he goes, well, I'm keeping the same offensive coordinator, that kid, and he's going to call the plays. And I'm going, boy, this is Jerry 100%, because McCarthy's not known as a puppet-type guy. But, so I still don't know the answer. Yeah, was McCarthy that impressed with the kid as the play caller? Was he that impressed? Or did Jerry say, hey, this is my favorite here. Let's keep him and let him call plays? I don't know the answer to that, but it kind of took some glow, for me anyway, when all that happened off the hire, because McCarthy never, correct me if I'm wrong, did he ever let anybody else call the plays in Green Bay?
No.
I don't think he did. And I haven't exactly totally researched that, but if he did, I'll tell you this much, it wasn't for long that, that he would allow that to happen. So that's my disappointment on the McCarthy thing right now, which may or may not have everything to do with Jerry, just like they brought in Alton Smith. And I'm going, God, and I always used to say, if Charles Manson could play, he would play for the Cowboys. Jerry would want him if the guy could play at all. But, it's just time after time after time. We've all seen it with Jerry bringing these cats in. And then, and again, I'm not like I did for years. I'm not making calls to, Valley Ranch or now Frisco every day. I'm not checking in with the beat guys every day. But, you see that and you go, well, here's Jerry again. Now, what I'm reading is, no, actually, that was McCarthy who wanted to give this guy a shot. So, there's a lot of things back and forth there that I'll be the first to admit, I check it every day, but I'm not on top of it or trying to be on top of it like I did for all those years.
Randy, the Cowboys, it's now 25 years since they last won a Super Bowl.
I remember that. I remember that Super Bowl.
25 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it going to be another 25, Smoaky?
Certain franchises or certain college football programs just always seem to even sometimes fall into recycling into success.
There you go. And I really think they got the quarterback now. I will always say this. Of course, I thought they had the quarterback in Romo. You're not going to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl. The name of the game is the quarterback. And there's these little spots in history, these little spots where, look who was the quarterback for the Ravens. And, you can pick out a spot, but overall, 95, 99% of the time, you've got to have a quarterback that's going to get you there, and then you build the pieces around him. I've thought they've had that, but it still hasn't happened. I blame Jerry because I blame Jerry for everything. Okay, and even in retirement, I still do that. But from a football standpoint, I blame him. But it's just 25 years. That's hard to believe. Hard to believe. A lot of that was Jerry. A lot of it may just be bad luck too.
In 1990, I started hosting a talk show in Tyler, and I remember spending a little time with both you and Norm Hitchkus before I did, kind of just get to know a little bit about what to do, because I surely was clueless. And I remember you gave me advice the first time you saw me at baseball training camp back in the days in Port Charlotte, Florida. And,
Absolutely.
And here we are now. We've launched this show, which is basically almost groundbreaking what we're trying to do. And I'd called you a couple, 3 or 4 days ago, and we sat. Isn't it amazing how life is, how things change? And these two guys with me, Paul and Craig, have shown amazing resiliency in how this business is so screwed up at times.
Let me tell you, it's boy. To answer that, I would say this: people say, "Would you?" I'm 77 years old now. Retired when I was 7, and people say, which I never thought would happen. I said I'll never work past 65, and then the money's there, and I'm having fun. And I didn't quit because I wasn't having fun. But in just these 6 years, it'll be 7 in October. People have asked, would you like to be 45 again? And I said, well, yeah, okay. But what the heck would I do when I look now at where radio is? And I did that for 29 years. Talk show, sports talk, where newspaper is. And boy, that's even worse than where radio is.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, wow, could you even survive now with what's happened to the media business? And there was a time now, and you certainly remember this, it was all going to be, online was going to be the deal. A newspaper,
yep,
radio, that was going to be where it all went. Well, you guys are now launching into something where you want it to go, and it might. But from a newspaper standpoint, my livelihood for 50 years, and that's what I really was, a newspaper guy. It's scary. And I was talking to one of the beat writers today before I came on the air, and of course he's a baseball writer, and he was saying they've got me doing education stories now, because how many baseball stories can you actually do for a shrunken sports section?
Yep.
So I don't, but I take away coronavirus and all this. I mean, for the newspaper business and to a certain degree the radio business, this was where it was going down long before this virus hit. So yeah, absolutely. I look at it now and I don't know what I'd have been doing. Probably a bookmaker. I love, you know what? That's always interesting. I would love to have been a bookmaker, but you can, if the feds catch you, you got to go to.
It'll be legal soon, Randy.
That's a rough trip.
Do you remember the Super Bowl in San Diego where you, and I don't know who it was with us, we crossed into the border of Mexico and we had to ride those little bikes back towards the border to get back
Absolutely. And and I took you, we went to an off-track betting parlor, which was absolutely, it looked like something that the cartel sent their enemies to, that you could have, that somebody was going to walk in and start blasting. And I'm sitting there with you. So I took you there, and it was Wally Hall from Little Rock.
Yep.
And I believe Jim Dent.
Yep.
Now, one year Jim Dent went with us, which is totally another story.
Yeah.
Speaking of the cartel, if Dent was with us, the cartel was watching us. But I don't know if it was that year or not. Smoaky, I know Wally Hall, Little Rock, was there, but Dent and I did that 2 or 3 different times, and which was dangerous enough. But I do remember that. That was those were days. But I wouldn't want to try it again.
No. All right. Randy, we appreciate you, man. We launched this again, as I said, a week ago Monday. Thanks for your support. Always appreciate what you've done for us, and hopefully, when there is a new normalcy, we'll be able to possibly run into you again very soon.
Oh, I'll be looking forward to it. Thanks, guys, and all the best. Just stay well and stay safe.
It's Randy Galloway, long time, 50 years, as he mentioned, in the newspaper business, Dallas Morning News, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. And when he left the Morning News for the Star-Telegram, that was a big deal. He was a columnist forever, and of course was incredibly successful. I don't think with the show he did on WBAP, and then eventually with what he did as the lead host for years with ESPN in Dallas.
I don't think the Dallas Morning News has really been the same since he left. I mean, they've got, writers that have done a good job, over the years, although that's been a revolving door at times as well. But no, once Galloway left, that was huge for the Star-Telegram. And then once, he slowed down there and stopped, then that was another big blow for them. And he's right. You look at the newspaper industry now, you look at all industries right now, but in particular with the type of work that he was doing, everybody's writing opinion pieces now or writing columns and such, right? And he's so good that he still would have been able to distinguish himself from that. But as far as like the day-to-day and the covering of a team and being on a beat, we've seen with Sports Illustrated through Maven, which is not a company with the best reputation. I mean, they're basically taking college kids who are willing to work for basically free and putting them on as like full-time beat writers for pennies on the dollar, right? So it's a much different industry, that's for sure.
No doubt about it. Hey, I just got a text from Jimmy Walker. You saw the note, the PGA Tour is hoping to launch back up the second week in June at the Colonial. Jimmy Walker, we were working on trying to get him on the show. He's going to be next. We'll have Mickey Spagnola at 5:05. Former Midway star Hunter Jarman, who's now a minor league scout, at 4:45, and former Baylor defensive lineman Gary Don Johnson, 5:20. That's Randy Galloway. Jimmy Walker on the PGA Tour about to reload next on SicEm365 Radio. At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less, sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
This is Waco, and this is Boozer's Jewelers. When locals want luxurious jewelry and at a competitive price, they come here. This is Brad Boozer. He's the owner of Boozer's Jewelers. Boozer's is the premier wedding ring store. They specialize in loose diamonds and wedding rings. At Boozer's, they have 7 jewelry counters dedicated to wedding rings and diamonds only. They also specialize in heirloom jewelry, custom jewelry, watches, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Stop on in today and discover why the locals trust Boozer's for their jewelry.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
We are facing some unique challenges at this time. We want to do our part to support not only our community, but our medical providers who are really overtasked right now. Governor Greg Abbott has required dental offices to postpone all elective dental procedures, but still be available for dental emergencies. At this time, dental emergencies are those that are defined as something that would make somebody consider going to the emergency room for treatment. We're offering to see you at our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to noon, and we will waive all fees. We're doing this to support the community and support the medical system. This will allow the overtasked medical community to focus on the truly needy at this time. In the midst of what seems to be so much gloomy news, we want to send a positive signal of our faith in our community and in each other. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're 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 all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Thank you and God bless.
So many people waiting for what might be back to normal. There's a lot of simmering that maybe that's about to happen. The NFL draft comes up not this weekend, but next. There's the WNBA draft that is tomorrow night. And now the PGA Tour has announced that sometime around the second week in June, it appears they'll restart their schedule. And the Colonial will be the first tournament on the schedule. We're now joined by former Baylor All-American and PGA Tour major champion himself in Jimmy Walker on SicEm365 Radio. Jimmy, how much news, what does that news mean? We still don't know everything between now and then, but what are players thinking about maybe a chance now that things are going to get back somewhat to normal?
Thanks for having me on, Smoaky. It's brutal to say what's actually going to happen. I mean, I know we've got a couple of tournaments on the schedule where the governor of California is like, well, that's not going to happen. Whether the tours talk to the mayor of Fort Worth, the governor of Texas about these events taking place, I have no idea. So I can only go by what I'm given. And, if we start in June, that would be amazing. But it's so hard to say. I don't know.
How much are you able to play right? I mean, most golf courses all over the place are closed, and I would imagine driving ranges fit that as well. So how much are you able to play and keep in your game right now?
My course is open. So, a lot of the golf courses in Texas are closed. And I think a lot of it has to do with what, the head judge for each county has to say about what the governor had to say. It's kind of a dance. So we're open. Only private carts are allowed. No club carts. You can walk. There's no rakes. You've got the cups are upside down, so you don't have to reach into the hole very far, and there's no rake. So, our bev cart's still going around because it's mobile. It's not stationary. So there's all these little funky rules that are going on, and I've got buddies in town that can't play golf, and they're basically mad at me that I can still play golf. So I've been playing about 9 holes every day with my family, and we've been having as good a time as you can have.
Speaking of your family, Jimmy, I'd read a piece from a few weeks ago when this all began, the lockdown, the stay-home orders, and you had commented to, I believe it was PGA.com perhaps, that you and your wife were going to be homeschooling your 2 sons. How has that gone for you guys?
We've had a couple of principal office visits. We've thought about firing some teachers, but so far everybody's kind of hanging in there. And to be honest and to be fair, it's I think we're really getting to get a solid grasp on what our kids really know and don't know. When you send them to school, you put your faith and your trust in what's going on,
and our kids go to a private school, and we love it. And now that we get to actually see them in action, I feel like, maybe I get to see something that maybe they're deficient in or that they're really good at, and we can kind of tailor what's going on a little bit, if that makes sense.
It seemed like, and just looking at what you had done this year, and obviously you had to go through some things that you've had to deal with your health, but were you about to click in Florida? Did you feel like your game had come back at the Honda Classic? Did you feel pretty good about where you were, or I know you had a tough round at Arnold, but did you feel a little bit better?
Yeah, that was a tough day. Everybody did. It got away from me a little bit, and it got away from a lot of people, but I came back the next day and shot a good round and had another good finish, and then had a great start at the Players, and I was really bummed I didn't get to finish. I did feel like I felt good, and I was bummed. And I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like, when we shut it down, I got kind of depressed. I'm like, man, I felt good. I wanted to play golf, and that was my 9th. I just played 9 out of 10 weeks in a row. So at the Players, and I was fried. I had one more in me, and I got off to a good start, and I just wanted to. I wanted to finish that event because I felt like that was going to be the culmination of my 9 out of 10 weeks playing, and that was my whole plan starting the year. So I just know I'll be ready to rock when the ball drops again, whether that's in June or July or August or whenever it is. It's so hard to tell what's going on.
When you mentioned that round at Arnold Palmer that you had, but it was everybody. I mean, everybody kind of had that. When a course doesn't play a certain way, or when the weather is affecting pretty much every golfer, what is the conversation like in the clubhouse after a round with the other guys?
There wasn't any. Everybody left. Everybody was it's like you're in a boxing match. You got your butt beat, so everybody left. So there was no conversation. It was just, oh man, it's going to blow again tomorrow. We got to go do it again. But I think that that course hadn't played like that in a while. Usually the scores are kind of low there, and that Honda's always going to play pretty tough. But Bay Hill really showed its teeth. It was pumping. Pumping. And then the rough was just deep enough where it could really jump up and bite you. And it was sure fun. It really spreads the field out when it gets really tough like that. If you're on, you get rewarded. If you're off, you're just, okay, I'm glad I get to go home.
Jimmy, if the PGA Tour does return on June the 8th, as it's planning on doing in Fort Worth at the Charles Schwab Challenge, it doesn't look like fans will be involved, and that's just something we're going to kind of have to get used to for a while. Now, obviously, you play a lot of golf with no fans involved, but being in an actual tournament and being in that mindset to not have any fans around, have you thought about how strange that might be? Will it maybe be a benefit for some guys? How do you view that?
It's funny. I've been asked this question a bunch, and I've actually played twice with no fans, and it so happened to be that I was literally in the last group in the tournament on a Saturday and a Sunday. I had to go back and play at Congressional on a Saturday after a big storm, and they thought that it was too dangerous for fans to be out there, so I was leading the golf tournament and played with no fans, and it was very strange. And then in Torrey Pines, a few years ago, I was in the last group, and we got winded out on a Saturday late afternoon, and I had to go back out Sunday and play with no fans because they had severely damaged down trees. So I've done it twice, and it's very strange. But to come back right out of the gate and say we're going to play the first 4 events with no fans because of safety, does that mean how's that safe for me to get on an airplane and go fly to a golf tournament, or my caddy, or anybody else for that matter? Are we going to be chartering jets? The tour going to, charter jets for us to all travel together? Are we going to be testing weekly? I don't understand how this is going to play out, honestly.
What did winning the major championship, the PGA Championship, mean to you?
At the time, it meant a culmination of my whole career of working hard. This is what I've always wanted to do, win a major championship. And so there was that, and it felt amazing. And then to have to contract Lyme disease and really struggle the last 3 years, it's been, I can look at it now and say it has been an absolutely incredible blessing to have won that and have 5 years of status. I don't know if I could have, I didn't keep my card last year. Mm-hmm. So on the money or on the point. So there's all kinds of different ways you can look at it. And I've always been a fighter, and I've always had to do it that way. And it's just another fight that I'm going to win and get over, and we'll be way better off on the backside of this.
Did you feel like at some point that you would ever be able to be healthy again?
I mean, I had spots where I thought, God, I don't know if this is going to get any better, honestly. But you kind of got to toss that out. If you power of the mind, you got to wrap your head around the good stuff and then the positive, and not get dragged down. Not to say that there wasn't maybe a little depression in there, and the struggle was real for sure. But and it's not to say that I still don't deal with a few things here and there, but I know that I can get on the backside of it.
Did winning it, well, now that you're playing in when you move on to other major tournaments, when you've won a major, obviously there's stress like nobody that's not an athlete would not understand, but does it take a little more of the pressure off that you put on yourself?
To do it again?
Yeah, to do it again.
I think once you know you can do something, it's easier to do it again. And that's just the same with, any sport, any feat, any task. Once somebody shows it can be done, you can do it again. Nobody thought you could break the 4-minute mile. Boom, it happens. Now everybody does it. The crazy one I watched, which is scary, was the guy that climbed Capitan. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was unbelievable. But one guy did it, and I'm like, oh man, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna try it now. Like 3 climbs. Oh, it was 3 solo. It was unbelievable. If you haven't seen it, 3 climbed it, and you're just like, wow. Now that people know that it's possible, you can wrap your head around it and do it. And that was the same for me when I hadn't won on tour. It took me a long time, and once I finally won, I won 3 out of 8. So it's crazy. I know I can do it. Not scared of it. I've never been scared of playing good.
And you have I know that you've had your ups and downs. One more thing, Jimmy Walker joining us today. This is great because the opportunity to talk to another Baylor legacy, a Baylor great. You mentioned I mentioned, Paul brought it up, the major, but the Masters might be, well, if then things get back to any schedule, everything's been pushed back towards the fall and winter. There's no question, right, with what Augusta National has the capabilities of doing, that it will still look like it might be April in November?
I had a buddy who goes, you ever seen azaleas bloom in November? And I said, no, I haven't actually, but if there's one place that could pull it off, that would be it. It'll play different. I've played it in early December, and it is a completely different golf course. They're really working hard on trying to get the overseed to come in, and it's a battle there to get that to really come in and be ready for April. So it'll be different. And but I said, if the Masters is in November, December, the 30-degree cold front, I don't care. I'll be there and rock and roll.
It is just something that's like heaven. It really, really is. Jimmy, thank you so much. I know you got a lot, spending as much time as you can, enjoying the time with family, and then hopefully the tournaments will be coming back up again, but they have so many more questions to answer and how they're going to do it. Appreciate you jumping on, really do, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Y'all have a good one. All right, be safe.
Yes, sir. That's Jimmy Walker with us on SicEm365 Radio.
What's interesting is that event is in Fort Worth, and we've done a pretty good job here in the state of Texas with dealing with coronavirus. Not to say we haven't had our fair share, but I would think that if you were to poll nationally, Greg Abbott will probably have one of the higher grades as far as how all this has been handled. And we've been able to see a little bit of the flattening of the curve in this state. So, I mean, I can't help but see an event in Fort Worth like this that they're planning on moving ahead with and think that the state of Texas feels like it's getting ready to open back up for business here pretty soon. I mean, regardless of the cases that are out there, I just think the economic effect that everything has had, we can't continue on this path for too much longer. And so you see the efforts being made, and I think Texas is going to be one of those right at the forefront, barring some big setback, but we'll be right at the forefront of trying to get normalcy kind of returning.
And this might be a dumb question, but if we see a flattening of the curve and we open things back up again, and then in 2 weeks we see another spike.
That's the problem, yeah.
It's a problem, but also we could just shut it back down again. We know what to do now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's none of this is foreign anymore.
Right.
So now you know what to do. So if you open it back up, you see some cases spike, everything shuts down again, well, it's going to suck, but at least we know what to do now. And so, I'm just saying, that may be a dumb statement. I don't know if it is, but
no, we're more prepared than we were when this first occurred. We're still very underprepared, I think, in the grand scheme of things, as far as everything that needs to be in order. But we are better for this, certainly, our knowledge of a situation like this.
Well, when we come back, we still have much more to get to. Hunter Jarman, a great receiver at Midway High School, baseball player, went to Oregon State, had a chance in the minor leagues. Now he's a minor league scout. How has all this affected what he does as he looks for the young talent for a Major League Baseball franchise? At 5 o'clock, we'll have Mickey Spagnola on the Cowboys a little bit over a week. Well, it's a week from today, right? Mm-hmm. The draft. And at 5:20, former Baylor defensive lineman Gary Don Johnson, SicEm365 Radio.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Waco, Texas, a place with its own unique history and a future bright with promise, full of remarkable growth and opportunity, and what makes it all work is its people, families, raising children, growing businesses. Wacoans are hardworking with a passion for what's next, and we're proud to be from here, helping Waco to grow and prosper. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas, familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
One of the things that I've always enjoyed, whether it was back in the early 80s when I was in television and then as the career has progressed to nearly 4 decades, is watching a young athlete, whoever it might be, even maybe before high school, if they were some sort of a phenom amateur, and then into high school and into college and then the pros and then eventually with what they do, even after that, whether they've had success or not, or what they've done with their life and career. Hunter Jarman is now an amateur scout for the San Diego Padres. Everyone knows what he was at Midway, Oregon State, time in the minor leagues, and now an amateur scout. He joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak. First of all, it's great to hear from you. Great to have you on the show. How are you scouting? Is everything online? You have, like, Huddle is for football, the same thing with baseball?
Yeah, so basically we use a OneDrive system. All the videos loaded onto there, and then I'm at home here in Waco, Texas with the family and just working away.
So, but there's some things, though, you do need to see in person, don't you? Especially when you're talking about pitchers, I guess. You really want to see that movement. How do you see that on the video?
Yeah, so basically the same thing that we've been doing. When they upload the video, you can kind of get a feel for it from watching the video. But, seeing that in-person judgment, you really can't get that right now due to the coronavirus. So all teams are kind of hindered at that. But, man, we're using the most of what we can with the film that we have.
Hunter, what's it been like just around the baseball community to have everybody out in Florida and Arizona and preparations are underway, stadiums are getting mowed, all that good stuff, and then just no season, and looking like there might not be a season at all. Just what have the conversations been like with your fellow baseball brethren about just the wildness of all this and the unfortunate timing with the start of baseball season?
You really don't, to this day, it doesn't seem like it's still true. We heard the news from coronavirus, and then once Rudy Gobert from the NBA contracted the virus, it kind of got real for all sports. We're like, oh crap, like this is like something serious now. And then whether 3 or 4 days later, everything is shut down. It still feels kind of surreal to us. It's like, man, is there really not sports going on right now? But it's just been crazy. We haven't, we've hidden anything we can expect from it, and we're just trying to make the best out of it right now.
You were able to play, and you had an opportunity in the minor leagues, and then all of a sudden now you're a scout. What was it? How important was it? And you must have impressed somebody, not that you haven't impressed people over the years, that they wanted you to stay within the business and profession.
Well, I was just in Austin working my regular 9 to 5, and I get a call. And they're like, Hunter, are you still, interested in baseball? And I thought they wanted me to make a comeback. And I was like, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, got a pretty nice job lined up. I don't know if I want to come back and play. And they, well, we hate to burst your bubble, but we want you to come work on the other side. And, man, working a 9 to 5 in corporate America was great and all, but my heart, is in sports. So anytime I had the opportunity to go back to sports and do what I love every single day, I can't pass that up.
You were on the team, obviously, with Kramer Robertson, who's making his way up the ladder with the Cardinals organization. Was that one of the best baseball-playing football teams that you'd been on? Because you guys had, outside of him, I know you had some really good players.
Yeah, I'm going to say it was, just tooting our own horn. But, yeah, man, we had athletes on that team, and then with Kramer, he could have gone anyway also and played football. And in college, most people don't know that. He had an offer, based on soft offer from Boise State. So Kramer would have chosen the football route. What could he have been?
Hunter, for you and getting that phone call kind of out of the blue that changed the direction of your life, what were your thoughts on your baseball future at that point? I know as a player you had made that decision, but had you kind of resigned to the fact that baseball, if you were going to be a part of it, would maybe you be a Little League coach or something, or was that something that you knew you'd always return to?
It's something I knew I'd always return to. I just wanted to have a stable living, a stable income before I made that turn. Because I know once you get into that business, you're going to have to start from ground zero somewhere, unless you're blessed, with the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But I always knew I wanted to get back into sports somehow, whether it be football or baseball. Coaching-wise, I don't know if I wanted to get into that, but I definitely wanted to be in the front office somewhere.
All right, let's go back to you're a part of the record book. I have a record book for Midway football and many other schools in Central Texas on my high school website. and you're all over it. You know that. And there's been some guys that have come through and put up some big numbers as well. But is there anything more dramatic than when you came back and beat, was it Abilene, at Justin Northwest, and there was a 4th and 20, wasn't it, Paul?
Yep.
Like from the 10, which was insane. Clock's running. You guys are in trouble. Windy day, and then like 2 plays later, you take the lead. Is that like some of the best moments of your life as a football player at Midway?
That is probably one of the best I've ever had. Everybody was kind of passionate about like, hey, our season's over. But people don't know me and Kramer, we practice out in my backyard and his backyard numerous times. All right, man, in the game situation, throw it up and go get it. And for it to happen, in the actual game, it's still surreal to me today. And that's definitely one of the best moments I've ever had in football.
So, Hunter, I believe the day after that was we had a Baylor, the bowl press conference for wherever Baylor was going. I can't remember, but they were having hey, we're going to this bowl game press conference the day after. And I walked down the hall, and 5 different assistant coaches, including Coach Briles, grabbed me and go, what did Midway do yesterday? Coming in and tell me that. That was how wild that game was.
It still doesn't seem like it's true. It's like out of a movie, man. You hear all these people say, yeah, it's like scripted out of a movie, and then it actually happens to you. Like, okay, I know what they meant now.
It was 4th and 20.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. You catch one right at the sticks, and then the long pass to Devontae Strickland on the most crazy diving, flat-out catch ever, which I don't know how the ball didn't pop loose when he hit the ground anyway. And he was a young kid at the time.
Yeah,
he was
sophomore.
Yeah. And
yeah,
then,
as a sophomore.
And then just deep out to you, wasn't it, on the next play?
Yeah, so we kind of had it. We knew we were running. Once he caught that, I kind of made eye contact with Coach Alford, and I saw him giving the sign for a corner route. And before he was even giving that sign, I was like, I know he's going to call a corner because we're on the far hash. And as soon as he called it, me and Kramer looked at each other like, man, we're about to win it. And he put it in the perfect spot, and the rest was history.
Abilene had that stud running back, too. Sims was Sims' name? Yeah, he was good.
I don't know if it was Ben Sims. That may be a former Baylor running back, but
Ben Sims is a tight end for Baylor right now.
Herschel Sims?
Herschel Sims. Yeah, he was fantastic. I think maybe the next year they may have even, like next year, won a state championship. Well, hey, good luck with what you're dealing with. It's glad that you're in town. Your dad, by the way, every time I see him, has the nicest smile ever. He's always the happiest guy. And I know you guys are a tight-knit family. Congratulations on what you're doing, Craig.
Yeah, I did want to ask real quick, Hunter. There's been some talk about the draft and reducing the number of rounds they'll have for Major League Baseball. I don't think anything's official on that just yet. What are you in the scouting department being told as far as, continuing to look at guys, but what kind of direction are you getting from the front office right now about what to prepare for?
We're going as planned. If the draft is reduced, we're still going to stick with the same plan. We're just, going along like nothing's going to happen or nothing's going to change. And then once we get that call or once we're notified that the draft's going to be reduced or not, then we'll make plans from there. But, my front office is doing a great job of just, hey, guys, don't panic. Continue what you're doing. We'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Hunter, thanks for jumping on, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man.
Hunter Jarman, again, he's now an amateur scout in Major League Baseball for the Padres.
By the way, speaking of the Padres, their organization's on the rise as far as young players in baseball. And I know this not just because I'm a big baseball nut, but last year in Oxnard, I had a 45-minute conversation with Norm Hitzges about how good the Padres organization was. And he showed me, it was very educational. He gave me all the things all these websites that he uses for his research, which, most human minds can't handle, but Norm's can.
Yeah.
And he had all this stuff, and he was showing me the Padres are on the come
on the up.
They're on the up.
It's fun to be in that position again. I remember when the Rangers were starting to do that in the late 2007, 8, 9, and then led to their run. And of course now that's long gone.
And they had some. Do they still have the Rangers' influence in the front office?
Yeah, AJ Preller, all that.
Yeah.
He was like an assistant general manager to was it Doug Melvin at the time or John Daniels? One of the two, yeah.
He was John Daniels' right-hand man.
Mm-hmm. So, Jimmy Walker, Randy Galloway, and Hunter Jarman in the 4 o'clock hour. Coming up next, we're not done. DallasCowboys.com columnist Mickey Spagnola. Cowboys a week away from the draft, as is the NFL. And then Gary Don Johnson of Baylor, former great in the 70s. He'll be at 5:20. This is SicEm365 Radio. One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We are open to support our community through this crisis. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sauce and drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue.
Next in line.
Waco, Texas, our city of remarkable growth and opportunity with an even brighter future ahead. What makes it all work is our people living, working, and growing together. And we're proud to be from here, helping and serving the community we call home. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas, taking great pride in being locally owned and operated. Come see us at any of our 5 convenient locations. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, with Crown Royal Peach in stock right now and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Brad Wilson. Investing is time and experience back to you and your money during today's changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
More play action, wide open in the end zone, touchdown Thornton. They lost him again and a 29-yard TD strike.
This is SicEm365 Radio, presented by IdealMRI.com. When life is stressful, there's an ideal solution. Ideal MRI. Here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
5 o'clock hour brought to you by Edward Jones, serving individual investors since 1871. Ben Erlinson, Brad Wilson, Tom Albers, Edward Jones, our 5 o'clock sponsor, Ideal MRI. Of course, our title sponsor of SicEm365 Radio and so many other great sponsors. And we've added some this week, and we will continue to add some. And it looks like there'll be 1 or 2 more even before the weekend. Mickey Spagnola, who moved from our 4:30 segment to just after 5. We had Jimmy Walker, PGA Tour Pro, as the PGA Tour is hoping to launch here in less than 2 months, and it would start at the Colonial in Fort Worth if they can. Mickey, 1 week from today, how, just as a sports writer, columnist, reporter, is it going to be nice to have something that is factual, evidence, like almost like wins and losses or something?
Well, this will be, David, think about it. It's March 12th, 13th? This will be our first live or somewhat live sporting event, right? And the draft, I mean, this is going to be one of the most watched drafts ever, I think, because everybody's dying for something that's real. We're taking up our time looking back in history. I know we are with a lot of the stuff we're writing. We're presuming things, but now something actually is going to happen. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I almost hate to see it come to an end because we've got something to work towards, right? Something to talk about. When the draft's over, I guess we can take up our time talking about what happened. But who knows when the next practice is going to be? If there's going to be an OTA, a mini camp, for goodness sakes, a training camp. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this draft greatly.
Mickey, it's hard enough to cover the draft, even working for a team like you do. When everything's normal and there's visits and you can say like, oh yeah, we know this guy was here today or that guy came in last week and they had these and you've seen the phone calls. Is it even harder now that you have no contact with anybody? You can even walk across and say, hey, so-and-so was here. Do you like that guy?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The contact that we don't have it really kind of hurts your preparation, and you're right. Previously, when you're in the building, you run into people, you chit chat and kind of shoot the breeze, and now everybody's separated and you don't have that contact. And it's not necessarily that you get inside scoops or anything like that, but you just get a feel for what people are, coaches are thinking and the type of player they're looking for. And you're right, you find out who comes in for a visit. When you had the 30 visits, we had a list of names and the Dallas Day visits, and now we don't have any of that, and we're kind of at the mercy of them putting up little snippets of the interviews they virtually do with the prospective draft choices. And some of them are really good. You wish they went longer, but most of them are just little 1-minute shots, and you have to kind of figure out what they're thinking about that player in that short time.
Mickey, I know we're going to focus mostly on the draft with you, but I do have to ask you just your thoughts on Dak and the party from this past weekend. I know they've already addressed it. He's addressed it and all of that, so that seems to be behind them at this point. But just what were your thoughts on that? A bad look at the worst, really. Nothing coming out of it, but just your thoughts on kind of the way that was viewed.
Well, it's a reminder to him that he's not the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. He's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And every step, every move he makes is going to be scrutinized. He no longer has a personal life. And even if he has 8 or 9 people at his house for a dinner, someone's watching. And if you have 8 people there and you got 5 more coming in to cater a party, as he tried to point out, suddenly it gets exaggerated, and all of a sudden it's 30 people. Even though the Prosper Police Department didn't do anything, didn't say that, verify that there was that many people there. But again, you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and I think this is a good reminder. No matter if you're doing that, if you're working out with a bunch of guys throwing the football. Before people got criticized in the off season for not working out, and now they get criticized for working out. But you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. No one's criticizing Tua for putting on a workout performance and having video. There's guys there. There were people snapping the ball to him, right? But no criticism there. So it's part of the deal. And you get a lot of benefits being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and these are the downsides, and they all learned it, right? Don Meredith learned it. Craig Morton learned it. Probably Roger got a free pass, but, Troy had to learn it. Tony had to learn it. And so I think it's a reminder of him. You just got to be careful.
Ideal MRI, by the way, our title sponsor of SicEm365 Radio. Ideal MRI, high-quality MRIs for $497 or less. That's Ideal at idealmri.com. Mickey, All right, so Cowboys have, what is it, Paul, the 17th pick in the draft? Is that right? 17th pick in the draft. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen before then. There's so much that can change and how quarterbacks move up and whatever. But if they have to come out of the draft, whether it's 5 picks, 7 picks, or 10 picks, whatever they do, what must they come out of as far as a potential starter or two, and what must they make sure they stabilize?
Well, to me, one of the things they need to stabilize is that other defensive end spot. Because if you look at the personnel there, not named DeMarcus Lawrence, the group that played last year that's still on the team, meaning there's no Robert Quinn, that group of 4 totaled 2 sacks last year. 2. So to me, there's no clear-cut starter there, and I know that you can have a fallback on Tyrone Crawford, but he's not a 3-down defensive end, and who knows, they might still want him playing inside. So to me, looking at that position right there, if you had to start tomorrow, I think you'd be somewhat lacking at the defensive end spot. I know a lot of people want to point out cornerback, but at least they've got 3 guys on the team that have played, that have started, with Chidobe Awuzie, Anthony Brown, and Jordan Lewis. You can go to work. You might want better, but you can go to work. I think the other thing, at some point in the draft, you don't have a Pro Bowl center anymore. And Joe Looney's a nice backup, a nice fill-in, but I don't think you want to sink your teeth in to him. And who do you have on the team right now that's going to challenge him? I keep hearing people mention Connor McGovern, their 3rd-round draft choice, who didn't play any football last year, by the way. The last time he played center was at Penn State in 2017. That's a long time away. And to think that maybe this guy's going to impress you to the point that he's going to take the place of a 5-time Pro Bowl center, you might want to cover your bases there with a guy that might have played center last year. So that's the consideration. You still don't have a bona fide 3rd receiver. Somewhere along the line, I would imagine they're going to draft one. You got to replace 58 catches and almost 900 yards that Randall Cobb had last year. And there's no one on the team that's Cedric Wilson, kind of a guy that can play in the slot, but I don't know that he's perfect there. So you need something there. And, oh, by the way, you don't have a bona fide backup offensive tackle either. So, I keep telling folks, and I probably told you, and you guys are probably tired of hearing it, but I'm here in my kind of upstairs cave, and I got a dartboard on the wall. And I was thinking I should replace the numbers with a position, and you throw a dart, whatever I hit, the Cowboys probably need it.
Mickey, you mentioned, who's going to be the defensive end. You think about right now, they've got a lot of guys that the coaches like, but you don't start a season with guys the coaches like. That you have to start the season with guys that they know. Like Dorrance Armstrong would probably start right now at defensive end if it was today, wouldn't he?
Well, he might, but he didn't play all that much last year. I mean, he's a candidate. I think of the 2 sacks of the 4 guys I mentioned, he had one of them. So, but again, these coaches, all they've seen is film. They don't know who Dorrance Armstrong is. They may not have even met him yet. So that's the tough part about this whole deal, and the timing of having a new coaching staff in this predicament, in this situation where you're separated from the guys. And you can do all this stuff virtually. You can do it online and have classroom talk but it's not the same as just kind of being around the guys and knowing them, seeing how they walk around, what they think, how they sound. That's the disadvantage, and you may have a wipeout of the off season. Who knows? Might have a wipeout of training camp, and you might have to just say, okay, we're starting the season in 2 weeks. Let's go. Well, these 5 teams that have new coaching staffs are going to, they're going to be behind. So, yeah, it's a tough thing to kind of know who these guys are. Do you want another safety? Sure, why not? Defensive tackle? Yeah, I need one. I'm not going to disqualify a tight end either just because they paid Blake Jarwin. He's had one really good season, and he was a part-time player. So, they've got some work to do. And, David, you guys, Paul, to me, this draft is going to determine just how well the Cowboys did in the offseason. You can sign some of these guys, and they were kind of plugging holes with some of these free agents, but this is going to determine if the Cowboys had a good offseason or not by how they come out of this draft.
The NFL is moving forward with their plans to release the schedule on time, Mickey, and I know there's been some rumors about the Cowboys opening up that new stadium in L.A. against the Rams. How ready are you for a departure from Giants-Cowboys to start the season, and is that kind of the vibes that you've been getting as well?
And Craig, I didn't mean to forget to mention your name when I said the other two guys.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I was just looking for the preseason schedule to come out.
Yeah, sure.
Which is supposed to be around May 9th. And who knows? You might be playing some preseason games in some of those new states if they're ready. Because from what I'm hearing, the Vegas thing with everything's going on, I bet the construction has slowed down. They may not be able to open. The Raiders might not be able to open in Las Vegas this year. Everything's such up in the air. I don't even think I've looked that far forward, not knowing for sure if that's going to happen. I was just kind of looking forward to, what's going to happen with training camp,
right.
Preseason game. Would they even go to California? Who knows? So there's so much up in the air right now.
Mickey, thank you again for being a part of the show. Always love it on Thursdays around 4:30. Thanks for being able to push back for a little bit today, and we'll, I guess, a week from today.
Yeah.
It's live and in color on TV, and look forward to it.
Yeah, don't push me back too far. The draft might have started already.
No, we got you, buddy. We got you. We always have each other's back. Thank you, Mickey. Mickey Spagnola at Spags52 on Twitter, and also DallasCowboys.com. Coming up next, another former great Baylor name, Gary Don Johnson, next on SicEm365 Radio. I was just watching somebody on that poll. Remember the poll we put up about who's the best running back in the decade of 2010 to 2019. 453 votes now.
Really?
Shock Linwood, 43%. Seastrunk, just under 36%. Ganaway, 18.5%. And Finley still in that 2.6%. And then a couple of people, Stephen Keene, I think it is, just put up the 9-yard Shock Linwood run. 3rd and 4, game tied at 58, which is against TCU at McLean. And a 9-yard run where the last 6 yards was just basically guts that set up the field goal by Callahan. That doesn't mean that's your best decade running back, but of course he ended up as their all-time leading rusher. This is SicEm365 Radio. Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodway. PettyClinicLowT.com.
An Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like these, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illness and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please, remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe. Together, we'll get through this.
Our communities are facing unprecedented times. At Boozer's Jewelers, we care about you and your family. If you're like me, your home has unwanted or unused jewelry lying around. They can have value, and that means we can turn that jewelry into instant cash. This is a great way to get the most value from your unwanted jewelry. At Boozer's Jewelers, we buy all kinds of unused jewelry. So give us a call and let us give you peace of mind and cash for your unwanted or unused jewelry.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
When we launched this show on Monday, April the 6th, there was feedback we would receive from some of those who thought hopefully you would be a part of our audience about names that you wanted to hear from. And we've been able to go back in the days with even the Cowboys or with high school football or, of course, Baylor. And one of those names that was one that was sent to me more often than not was Gary Don Johnson, former Baylor offensive lineman or defensive lineman and also a three-sport star at John Tyler High School. Recently, of course, has been inducted into the Tyler Athletic Hall of Fame. He's a Baylor Hall of Famer, part of that great 1973 John Tyler State Championship team with Earl Campbell, Ronnie Lee, and others. And Gary Don Johnson joins us live on SicEm365 Radio. Gary, how are you doing, and what's it like? I mean, your name was brought up among as many others that people were asking, hey, can you get Gary Don Johnson? And that means a lot of people must like you.
Well, I hope so. You know, I enjoyed and had a great time at Baylor, and a little bit I had a shot at the NFL and the USFL down in San Antonio. But I've just been enjoying myself here in Dallas area and just working and trying to just survive and going through all this invisible disease that's going on, and it's kind of taken away from a lot of activities outside, going fishing with a friend of mine, Dave Brooks, and so I've just kind of been enjoying myself just sitting around the house, just doing some work, you know, and it's kind of tough to wear that mask all the time like you're on Star Wars, with the gloves and all that, like you're a medical surgeon and all that, and bumping fence and kicking and they got all kind of things going on when you greet people and stuff like that. And I want to say a shout out to my brother Jerry Johnson that played at Baylor with me. He's live in Waco, Texas. He I don't know. I hope we get over all this invisible disease. That him and his wife Carrie Johnson, they got a little classy wine bar downtown Waco, and it's been very successful. So I just thought I'd put a shout out to him.
What's the name of it? Do you know?
Classy Glass.
Oh, I love
it. A little wine bar.
I love it.
Real nice.
I love it.
Yeah, got the little piano guy, a little musician. They got, you know, great food and just very nice, you know, and just classy. I'm like, where did this guy come from with all this? You know, this guy know how to cook. You know, my oldest brother, you know, he's a great cook. Of course, my mother was too, but I don't know where my brother Jared Johnson come up with these ideas. He's one of the best barbecue people that I've eaten. His barbecue is so great. It's better than Kansas and Atlanta and all this, Memphis. Unbelievable. I'm still figuring out, where does this guy get this from? He was always the quietest one in my family. Yeah.
So I don't want to make this interview about this, but you did mention that you played in San Antonio in the USFL and the Gunslingers, and I have heard nothing but crazy, wild stories about the Gunslingers and how poorly that was run and how hard it was for you guys. I just read a book about the USFL. How nuts was it playing for that team?
Let me tell you something. That's one league, the NFL is a little different. You go to camp in the summertime, it's hot. I mean, cold. However that go around. But the USFL, I had the best time. First, I was up there with the New Jersey Generals, and San Antonio had the rights to me, and so I had to, fly back to San Antonio, and I had a great time down in San Antonio. I mean, San Antonio in the summertime was unbelievable. I just didn't realize, 'cause I got a lot of teammates that come there. Gary Green, that played, he played down at Kansas City, and Tony Green, his brother, and I had a number of college teammates that lived there, so it was just like a welcome home situation down there. And the Riverwalk, I didn't know what the Riverwalk was, but man, it was just so nice down there. I mean, I really enjoyed San Antonio.
The Southwest
USFL, but that USFL was a great league because we got all the first round draft picks came out, Rozier and everybody, and Herschel Walker, and it was a popular football deal was going on, but I don't know what happened. It just folded one day, So I heard other rumors, but it's something I would not discuss on the radio.
Wasn't Doug Williams a quarterback? Was it Doug Williams at San Antonio?
Doug Williams played he played at the Outlaws out of Oklahoma.
Okay.
Outlaws. I played against him, and I played against him at Tampa Bay.
Right.
But yeah, he's a great quarterback. They had a lot of guys from the NFL, popular from the NFL, went to the USFL, and it was the thing about that. What I was trying to say, we practiced in the winter time, and it was cold. But during the summertime, just as the winter was over, we started playing, and then the NFL started. So it was an excellent situation down there in the USFL.
I covered the Houston Gamblers quite a bit because they trained, I think it might have been in Huntsville at Sam Houston State University or somewhere, and Jim Kelly, they had Jim Kelly among some others on that team, and wasn't it Ricky Sanders, the former Belton star, I think. Gary Don, you were a part of obviously some great memories of the Southwest Conference and what Grant Taft and Baylor were able to accomplish. You got there a year after they had just won the Southwest Conference. And, there's connections to Baylor and to kids in East Texas quite a bit. Ronnie Lee, many others. What was it about Grant Taft? What was it that lured you to Baylor?
Well, I want to give my Grant Taft was a great coach, but also
Corky.
I want to say this. Yeah, I want to get to that too, and then I want to also say I want to thank Coach Lane. Coach Lane.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the biggest recruiters for Baylor, and a lot of people didn't know that he recruited me first, Coach Lang, and he was an offensive coach for Baylor, but he was high on recruiting me, and a great coach. And Coach Bill Hicks was my defensive line coach, and oh man, they were great coaches, and of course, everybody know Clark Nelson. He was my high school coach. He coached me, Earl, in high school, well, he was a tough coach. He wanted to win like all the rest of the coaches, and he had that instinct about winning. And that's one thing. I had several offices. I can remember my mother's living room. We lived in what you call those shotgun houses growing up, and my mother would have like 8 or 9 head coaches in her living room. Barry Switzerland, and they also had Dale Royal outside, and they had a bunch. I had A&M everywhere. My house, and I was just a young country boy. I didn't know what was going on, and they used to, coaches from Oklahoma would come and have us. Well, the day of I guess the day we had to sign, I could never forget. Oklahoma had me and one of my other teammates, and Carter was coming upstairs, and Wendell Mosley, which was one of Barry Switzerland's right-hand man, he was coming downstairs, and they looked at each other, and Carter, I can never forgive it, Carter looked at him and said, "You can get your hand off around them two." And he said, "Oh, no, these are my boys right here." You know, they were just, sitting there putting us on a trading block or something, like. He said, "Those are mine." I can remember A&M, TCU, and all of them was standing there looking at them, and it was a mess. And Carter said, "Them boys going with me right there." I had no idea I was going to end up going to Baylor, but I'm glad I did. I had a lot of good coaches, inspired me to go there, but I was going to probably go off further. But one coach told me that, if you go off real far from your family, your parents wouldn't hardly get to come see you play. A lot of people do that. You want to stay close to home so your parents can come see you play and all that. And I'm glad God, the Father, in the name of Jesus, helped me to make that decision to stay here at home.
Gary, the John Tyler Lions have had a great run of players. I think Earl obviously is one that people think of. All the Campbell brothers were pretty good players in their own right. But when did you first know that Earl was just kind of a different cat and that he was going to be something extra special?
Well, a lot of people don't know, but Earl his specialty in coming through high school. I remember Earl back when I was in the 7th grade and he was in the 8th grade, and man, he was running over people, picking people up and throwing them down in mud and running. He's just been an excellent football player, and he always had that instinct about it. Of course, a lot of people don't know he had 2 older brothers, Willie and Harold.
Oh, yeah.
And they came through, man. Those guys, and of course, my oldest brother, they all played together. And those guys, they were just as tough. And Earl, he just one of those players that just inspired you. He was a great player. I can just think about the things he did in high school to help us win, but he also wanted to go out there and play linebacker. I got a call from a guy last night, and we was talking about, we played a team against Conroe in Houston when we was going to the state playoff, and that Conroe was picked to win state that year, and I was probably no more than 220 or 214, wet, but the guy I was going up against weighed 325. So it was a big deal about that. And this guy was bragging about how he destroyed his nose guard. They either try to go up under him or go around him. But I had that, killer instinct out there on the football field. He wasn't going to just do me that bad. So I was talking to this guy just last night, and he said, but everybody had their eyes on me and this guy, and they thought Conroe was known to just blow out the middle. And the running backs would go right up the middle and they score on you, and they have a field day on you all day long. And this guy said, "Wow, we hit head on." I stood this guy up, and then one guy told me last night, he said, "Oh, everything gonna be all right," and we ended up beating them. But that was a tough team to beat, though, Conroe.
You played on some really, really good defensive teams at Baylor. Singletary, obviously many others. How good were those teams defensively at Baylor?
Well, I can tell you this. We had an awesome defensive line. One thing I can say is Baylor defense, we was ranked up there pretty high. Some people said we were ranked 3rd in the nation, and I heard rumors, and I talked to Abercrombie, and he said, I don't know if it was 3rd, but we was ranked pretty high. Now, we had a good defensive line, Andrew Mellontree from Tyler, Texas, who went to John Tyler. You got Thomas Brown, who played in 2 Super Bowls, played on that line. You had Joe Camel, was an excellent football player. So, of course, myself, we was right there in the middle. So, Mike Singletary, he once said, and that he feels so comfortable about it. And he's seen certain players out there he know we're going to dominate that front. Now, no one can come up that middle because, we had Coach Nelson, like if you make a mistake, you might as well go over there to the other team side because he would come and chew you out. He was like a psycho out there. So we had to do that. We had to block that whole front out. I can remember we played against Texas Tech, and they had James Hadnot, and he was running over people. He was getting 300, 400, 500 yards a game. But he came up against us, he only got 63 yards. And the only reason he got that 63 yards because they took the first team defense out and let the second team come in, and the guy went right up the middle. but we had to perform like that. You know, I had Coach Hicks on me, and he was chewing me out all the time, and Coach Nelson, everybody was afraid of him out there because he was a psycho. I used to tell him. He was an absolute psycho. He'd come out there and fight you on that field if he could, but he was a great coach because that's the coach. He was motivated. He wanted to win. Him and Billy Mills and all them, they wanted to win. They had our defense, and plus we had great defensive backs. Kirk Collins, Howard Field. We had great linebackers, Doak Field, Mike Singletary, Lester Ward. We were just loaded. We just I think when I got drafted, we had like 14 guys that either free agent or get drafted. And USC, it was between us and USC had the most players to get drafted in a free agent in 1 year. So that team was loaded. We had Van McElroy, who made All Pro with Oakland, and I mean we was unbelievable. I mean we were, and our team, we know Coach Taft was so comfortable with us. He had so much confidence in us that he know we was gonna. When nobody coming up against that Miller. When I was a freshman, we played against Michigan. Back then. Back in '75, and that's when Michigan went to the Rose Bowl every year, and little Baylor went up there against Michigan, and it was like with the bands and all the fans there, and I guess that was just a big celebrating day they was gonna have against us. And I never will forget, I walked out there on that field and I seen them in the people. I ain't never in my life seen them in the people at a football game. But we tied them. We should have beat them. And they running backs could not get out of that backfield. Gordon Bell and all those running backs, we shut them down. So we had a crazy coach over there. Not Coach Taft. Coach Taft was the greatest motivator coach I ever been around. Great coach, but Coach Nelson was a psychopath. And I called him, and when I spoke at the Hall of Fame, I told him he used to laugh at me. He would always call me over his house, and his wife said, Don. Clark could think you one of his sons. That's why he's always on you all the time. And my mother told me I better hang in there with Coach Nelson because he's going to always watch over me, But I had to get out there and perform. Now, if I got out there and didn't do anything, Coach Nelson would have, he just sit there on that bench. But I had to go out there and do some, I got a couple, they talk about Mike Singletary with the crack helmet. I wish I could send you. I got about 2 or 3 of them in here that I cracked out on that field, And that's abnormal, But I had a great time at Baylor.
Did you ever, when you made a mistake because you knew he was coming for you, try to blame it on somebody else?
Hell no, I'd be running, I'd be over there standing on the sideline with the other team, and he'd just looking at me, get on over here. I said, I'm not coming over there where that man is. He'd run up there in that field and punch you out there on that field. But he didn't do it out of meanness. He did it because he wants you to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted our defense to be the best, and we were. We were the best. We didn't. Mike Singletary, we didn't have to worry about nobody coming up against them in that middle because we had the middle sold down. You hear me? We was some mean. Well, we talk about that now, and they said, man, them guys from Baylor. That's because I used to talk to a bunch of guys from SMU that I knew, and they used to say, them boys from Baylor don't play in that middle. You know what I mean? So. We was an outstanding team. Baylor been good out the years, and but speaking of my point of view from when I played, we was some awesome guys.
Gary Don, the Baylor that has won over the last few years had done it a certain way. They had done it offensively. This past year with Matt Rule, before we knew that he was going to head off to Carolina, had really established that defense. And that defense was the unit that was winning those games week in and week out on their way to the Sugar Bowl. Just how proud were you as an alum to see what the program did this past season, and how extra proud were you potentially because of the way that they did it through the defense?
I was so excited because in the past, they had a little deal problem with the defense, but Coach brought it on real good, and I'm just so disappointed But he put yourself in this situation. You got a better opportunity to go on and move on up, and that's what we all like to do. Just like being in a big business downtown or anything like that. If you got an opportunity, somebody gonna give you more, and you can get out there in the world and show what you can do. But you're gonna take that opportunity. You might not get that opportunity again. So I'm hoping this coach from LSU, the defensive guy from the LSU. come down and he really he do something to get Baylor back on the right track, because he got to come down and recruit, and I don't know if he know this area that well. Hopefully he can bring some guys with him, and I hope they can get back on that tradition, winning again, because that made me feel so good. I could walk in places and sports bars and and people bragging on Baylor, and that's good, because I truly believe Baylor would have been a team to beat Alabama back when Alabama was on a run going on, because even the sports people said Baylor would be the only team to probably give Alabama a fight for their money back, when they was really on the road to winning quite a bit.
Gary Don, if you don't mind, one more question, and thank you so much. A lot of people wanted to hear from you, and it's great to have you on. What has it meant to you when you are basically now immortality when it comes to the Baylor Hall of Fame, or in the case of Tyler, Independent School District Athletic Department Hall of Fame? What does that mean to someone when you have those honors?
Well, I can say this. I was one of those persons and I don't mean to get all religious and stuff, but I mean, my Heavenly Father, He knew the right time to put me in both situations. I can say this, and I wonder why, and why I went in there at first, and now that I read and study a lot, and I said that's what God was holding back. He was waiting for the right time to put me in there. And I really enjoyed it, and I accepted it. And both times I was just in shock, and I mean, it didn't just drive me nuts, but, it's just when you least expect it. You know what I mean? It's like in the thing people said, God work in mysterious ways. He said, but you least expect it, man. And I just don't know, remember I read that part, or I just heard a lot. He know when the right time to move you. And it was an honor for me to get up there, and I thank him that I got up there, and I did hear everybody laughing, because Coach Tal's wife, Miss Tal, walked up to me and said, Gary, that's one of the best speeches I ever had. You made everybody laugh. He said, but you had us kind of worried there for a minute, and I know what she meant, because, back in my heydays, I had fun, at Baylor and stuff, and it was an honor for me to get there. It was an honor for me to be in the high school, and my family was there, and so I really enjoyed it. Like I said, my brother Jerry Johnson, that played at Baylor, he was there, and I'm sure my son and everybody was all excited. And that's something I always cherish, and enjoy in life. Like in my house, I noticed my son came over the other day when he came over. He said, Dad, when I hopefully get my house, I want that picture, and make my own wall of fame. So it was all exciting, to get that opportunity to be in the Baylor Hall of Fame and in the High School Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Gary Don. Great to hear from you. What a team that was, the high school team that had Earl Campbell, Ronnie Lee, the Campbell brothers along with Gary Don Johnson and many others, Lynn King. Oh, they were unbelievable. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And because we were the dead high school decade, I guess, back in that era. Like I said, we had Coach Nelson back then, and that's another time. I will say this. I said one time I got mad. We was playing against one of the high school teams at Robbie Lee, and I got mad, and I had that instinct. I just want to go out there and just play and do my thing, and I went to get mad at one of the other guys on the other opponents, and Earl looked at me and said, hey, man, if I was you, I wouldn't do that, because Clark could come out here on this field and fight you out on this field, and that stopped me immediately, so I had to get my head on right, so I had good people, and like I said, we had a good defense. John Tyler, Earl played a lot of linebacker, him and Lynn King. Those guys was unbelievable. Yeah, so we had a great team.
Thanks, Gary Don. Appreciate reminiscing with you. Stay safe. Thanks for your time, and we appreciate it. We'll see you maybe at a game at McLean Stadium soon.
Well, I hope they can go on and build that stadium up higher like they want to do, and kind of like a University of Texas kind of look, But hopefully we have a good year this year. We just have to wait, and hopefully this coach can bring some players and get the players he got, make the best out of the players he got, and we can get back on the right track. Because that was an exciting year this year. So we just hopefully wait and see. Because I remember we had the Peach Bowl championship team there for one of the games, for the Texas game. So I enjoyed that, and hopefully things will turn around and we can get this this show back on the road, and hopefully we can start winning. We just got to wait and see and do a lot of praying. You know what it is.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for your time. That's Gary Don Johnson. 3-time, I think, 2 or 3-time All-Southwest Conference defensive lineman. Imagine that during the days of the 70s with those great teams everybody seemed to have.
That's one thing that not a lot of people know about or really acknowledge all that much is how good Earl's brothers were and how just great they were at football, playing different positions than he did. Obviously, he got the headlines for a reason, but that whole family was pretty dadgum talented, and I couldn't help but hear, being a native Tylerite myself, I went to Robert E. Lee. I didn't go to JT, but that hell no that he dropped was just so East Texas that I loved every minute of it.
Yep, you're right. Tim and Steve were fantastic, but Willie and Herbert might have been better, but they were back during the integration, you know. We will come back to wrap it up on SicEm365 Radio. At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
This is Waco, and this is Boozer's Jewelers. When locals want luxurious jewelry and at a competitive price, they come here. This is Brad Boozer. He's the owner of Boozer's Jewelers. Boozer's is the premier wedding ring store. They specialize in loose diamonds and wedding rings. At Boozer's, they have 7 jewelry counters dedicated to wedding rings and diamonds only. They also specialize in heirloom jewelry, custom jewelry, watches, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Stop on in today and discover why the locals trust Boozer's for their jewelry.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
We are facing some unique challenges at this time. We want to do our part to support not only our community, but our medical providers who are really overtasked right now. Governor Greg Abbott has required dental offices to postpone all elective dental procedures, but still be available for dental emergencies. At this time, dental emergencies are those that are defined as something that would make somebody consider going to the emergency room for treatment. We're offering to see you at our office Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 to noon, and we will waive all fees. We're doing this to support the community and support the medical system. This will allow the overtasked medical community to focus on the truly needy at this time. In the midst of what seems to be so much gloomy news, we want to send a positive signal of our faith in our community and in each other. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're 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 all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Thank you and God bless.
All right, thanks to all of the various guests we had today, including Gary Don Johnson. You can, some of the things we've had with some of these guys that played even in the 70s or the 80s or whatever, they really, like, Gary Don is like, what do you want to talk? They love going back and reminiscing. Jackie Sherrill, Jason King, Randy Galloway, Jimmy Walker, Mickey Spagnola, Hunter Jarman, and also Gary Don Johnson. Craig, couple of college football notes to kind of send it off to the next day of Friday.
Well, Southern Cal has a quarterback now in the transfer portal as earlier today. JT Daniels put his name into the transfer portal. You may remember him playing pretty well last year for the Trojans before tearing his ACL in the season opener. He had a big spring. He was the guy, and Graham Harrell's running the offense. He's going to have a big year, but tore his ACL early on against Fresno State. So Keaton Slovis went out there and had a pretty strong year, had a really nice season overall. Pac-12's Offensive Freshman of the Year. So, when you have a year like that, you're probably going to be the odds-on favorite to be the guy coming back as well. And so with that, already kind of in place, JT Daniels, a one-time highly recruited player, has announced he will go into the transfer portal. Clay Helton, Trojans head coach, said that they've been working with JT and his family and their compliance and have tried to help him navigate this process and explore all of his options. So good news if you're Southern Cal, you got Keaton Slovis there you already feel pretty good about, but still a big name now in the transfer portal at the most interesting of times to be putting your name into a transfer portal. Yeah,
and Graham Harrell, of course, offensive coordinator. Everyone came at him. Texas did, and NFL did. Saw where his brother is now the head football coach at New Diana High School, just north of Longview. Just saw that recently. So right now, with nearly 500 votes in, who would you vote as the best running back at Baylor from 2010 to 2019? And some of them, like Levi Norwood said, I feel like any answer would disrespect the others, and a few more not on the list. From Chris, I don't know about the
Such
best.
a Levi Norwood answer, by the way.
Yeah, it is. But Lake was certainly the most exciting. Sam Bradshaw, who's brilliant with how he breaks down things. Best fit for Bryles is Ganaway. Best pro, Ganaway. Best open field runner, Seastrunk. Best receiver out of the backfield, Finley. Let me see here. Let's ask this K-State fan base the same question. Here's from Sheehan. Other guys at better individual years, but no one had the career of Shock. Rarely ever had negative plays, and that's one of the things the coaches loved about him. Connor just spent a few minutes sadly thinking about the 2014 offense if Lake hadn't declared early. Forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a big return if he had decided to, but he did not.
On 3rd and 3, give me Glasgow. Martin Grant said every time. Unfortunately, on 4th and 1 against TCU, that didn't work out. And Cooper said, from your list, I would have said Shock until he quit halfway through the season, so give me Hasty, which he had mentioned before. One of them said, I love all of my children, David.
Yes. Well, all of my kids.
Yeah. All right.
Was that Amy Padgett that said that? That sounds like her.
It's 1 o'clock somewhere.
Thanks to everybody that's a part of this. Brian Etheridge and Ashley Hodge, Colt Barber, who's just constantly he's like he doesn't sleep.
I can I please pass along one text that we got in the chat room over on the website.
Yeah.
And the next time that we have Randy Galloway on, depending on where we are with coronavirus, there were a couple people like Camo had asked about a question for Jackie Sherrill, and I didn't see it until it was too late. But he was asking.
The Willis Law Firm chat room.
Yes, the Willis Law Firm chat room. So Camo had asked about that, so maybe next time Camo I could get that question in there. But E. Middlebrook had this question for Galloway. Ask Randy if the media took the Spanish flu this seriously. And it's unfortunate we did not get to pass along that question.
I'm just a guy. In 1919, it was just a guy with a typewriter.
Yeah.
So
I just saw something that Brian Etheridge retweeted. James Blanchard. A couple of eyeballs bulging out and a couple of faces of bears.
Yeah, he's got the emojis going, and basically that means that there's a couple, if I'm reading it right, there's a couple of eyes out there because they're looking at a couple of soon-to-be commits, most likely, is what you're looking at.
All right, tomorrow we're going to have fun again. Dennis Gentry, one of the great names in the offensive side of Baylor history back in the day, will be a part of the show. Grayson will come in on possibly some new recruiting news, if that. And I've got a couple of other notes. We'll have that for tomorrow. Thanks to all of our guests. Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Craig. Thanks to our great sponsors. And I'm David Smoak. Enjoy your Thursday. Stay safe. This is SicEm365 Radio. One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We are open to support our community through this crisis. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue.
Next in line.
Waco, Texas, our city of remarkable growth and opportunity with an even brighter future ahead. What makes it all work is our people living, working, and growing together. And we're proud to be from here, helping and serving the community we call home. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas, taking great pride in being locally owned and operated. Come see us at any of our 5 convenient locations. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, with Crown Royal Peach in stock right now and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas. Our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. In today's world, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital, with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. We even offer financing. Everything's included in the price, and more importantly, you'll not get a bill in the mail later on. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule an appointment safely from home, online in minutes at idealmri.com, or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI. And please remember to follow CDC guidelines and practice social distancing. Stay home, except for the essentials, and be safe, and together we'll get through this at idealmri.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Waco, Texas, a place with its own unique history and a future bright with promise. Full of remarkable growth and opportunity, and what makes it all work is its people, families, raising children, growing businesses. Wacoans are hardworking with a passion for what's next, and we're proud to be from here, helping Waco to grow and prosper. We are the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.